called, starring Reese Witherspoon and Tobey Maguire. It's a movie called Pleasantville.
There's a place where life is simple. People are perfect. And everything is black and white.
Honey, I'm home.
It's a place that's as far from reality as we can imagine.
How about some marshmallow rice squares?
Those are swell.
But maybe it's a lot closer
Let me see that.
than we think.
What happened?
I'm not sure.
Look at me. I'm pasty.
Morning, kids.
Jordan, have you seen Pleasantville?
I do not believe I have.
Are you familiar with Pleasantville?
I do not believe that I am.
All right, Pleasantville. Like I said, it stars Tobey Maguire, Reese Witherspoon. They play brother and sister, and Tobey Maguire is really obsessed with a Leave It to Beaver black and white sitcom called Pleasantville. And whilst in the middle of an argument, and Reese Witherspoon is like the bad girl. And whilst in an argument, a TV repairman played by Don Knotts shows up and pulls them into the world of Pleasantville, and they become black and white. And the movie is about them trying to blend in. At first, Tobey Maguire's like, "Yeah, don't mess with their world too much because it might break their universe." And Reese Witherspoon's like, "Why shouldn't I?" And so she does stuff like, she sleeps with the jock character that she's not supposed to sleep with, which is played by what's his face, the guy from Fast and the Furious, who died.
I know who you're talking about.
What was his name? Shoot.
Oh.
Let's see if I can do this. If I can guess this before you pull it up on Google. Come on, it's right there.
Frank Walker. That was it. Before I looked
Walker.
it up.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker. Yeah. Paul Walker.
Something Walker.
A really young
as I was typing in Fast and the Furious, I was like Walker, something Walker.
Yeah, Paul Walker. Really young Paul Walker is there. Jeff Daniels is there. That's pretty much it. I guess Tobey Maguire's there. And because I think he got Spider-Man off the back of this, because I think they did costume testing with him in the clothes from this movie. He's really quite good in this. He's very much like Peter Parker, and the movie's sort of about learning. It's a metaphor for learning not to repress your inner feelings. So as it goes on, people start to turn to color as they so the sitcom mother character, she enjoys herself in the bathtub. That causes her to turn to color and slowly initially and also what's his name?
Enjoys herself in the bathtub.
What's his name? The guy from Wild Hogs.
Which guy from Wild Hogs? Danny
William H. Macy. The one who's not John Travolta.
Yeah.
William,
the nerd, the big nerd.
Yeah, the nerd. Yeah, he's there as the husband, and
the guy who's also in Kingdom of the Planets of the Apes.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Is he?
William H. Macy?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. You're right. Yeah. He's there, and he's the sitcom husband, and his whole thing is he just wants his meat. He just wants food. He just wants the wife to bring him food all the time. And his moment of turning into color is that he realizes that he enjoys her company, for her, not just for bringing her food. And the whole thing is
whoa, Justin! It wouldn't just be for her food. He probably also really likes it when she brings his slippers, cigar, and old fashioned.
Yeah. No old fashioned. The universe is too repressed for that initially.
Oh, okay.
And so the thing is, the teenagers all start having sex, and it all of them start to turn the color, and it's initially when they get there, there's nothing. The history classes or geography is there's nothing outside of the town, and as the world becomes color, and it's really cool. From a cinematography standpoint. There's scenes where it's melded. Some of the people are color, some of them are still black and white, and it obviously becomes a metaphor for discrimination. and the performances are like really good. Jeff Daniels is there as a guy who he uh, basically Tobey Maguire and the sister become the brother sister character from the show, and so because they're so like put off by being trapped in a television show, they don't follow the routine that the characters are used to. So he doesn't show up for work, he's late, and so the shop owner, this burger shop owner, he has to do everything himself, and this causes a whole disillusionment of his entire being. Just his whole life falls apart because he's like, we do the same thing every day. What is my life? Is it the same thing every single day? And he decides that he wants to become an artist. And yeah, the performance is really subtle and just really good. And it's otherwise a good movie until it kind of makes you think about the mechanics of how the world works. So the Don Knotts character traps them in the TV show, but like he periodically like shows up to yell at Tobey Maguire for doing like for breaking the characters out of their shell or whatever. And at a certain point, he shows up and he's like, "Oh, you've made this big mess of this universe. I'm going to reset the whole thing and make everything the way it is." But like, the movie doesn't explain how anything works.
This feels like it was originally a TV show that got made into a movie.
I could believe it. I could believe it.
As you're describing it, it sounds like each episode is him going and interacting with a different character and helping them
I could believe
learn the lesson, like the lesson of the day. What you're describing, it feels like it very much makes me think of like a old school television, like 80s kind of
right.
like
I
one.
mean, this is one. I think it got nominated for wardrobe when I looked it up. It wasn't like best picture or like best acting or anything. But like, if I had to make a criticism of the script, the ending kind of is where it falls apart because okay, so yeah, the movie is everyone coming to terms to who they are, or whatever, and it gets to the point where mostly everybody is color. Oh no, sorry. Tobey Maguire and Jeff Daniels get put on trial because they eventually institute this like these archaic like you're not allowed to speak to each other like 1950s era repressive like we're trying to repress you kind of laws. And they paint this painting and they get arrested and they're put on the city's first trial. And long story short, he makes the dad turn to color by getting to, like I said before, getting to him to acknowledge that he likes the wife for more than just food. And he gets the mayor, who's the only one who's black and white, still, to admit that like he gets angry. He's like, "Oh, you're pissed off at me, right?" He's like, "No, I'm not pissed off at you." And he's like, "Oh, women one day could work and leave the husbands and not make them food. Doesn't that make you angry?" And then he turns to color and he runs off in shame. And then out of nowhere, Tobey Maguire, even though he's had no reason to, because the entire time he's developed this love interest with the one of the female characters who's supposed to be in love with another guy, but she's falling in love with Tobey Maguire, and he has no reason or desire or want to go home, but just because the movie realizes it needs to end, he's like, "Oh, I need to go home now." And the sister,
I have to go now. Bye.
right?
Bye.
But he has no reason to. Like he's given no reason to. He could totally stay, and he's developed a really strong relationship with the parents on the show. And he's like, at the beginning of the movie, his mom, played by the mom from Malcolm in the Middle, like hates him and the sister, and like is trying to pass him off on the divorced dad because his mom is divorced and wants to go away for the weekend, to stay with this guy. And so she's abandoned them and doesn't. So he's developed this relationship with his mother. And so yeah, he just out of nowhere decides to go home. And the sister, because her storyline through the movie, is she starts off like a slut or promiscuous, and like just a real mean girl.
That's not the word you were gonna use.
No, I was gonna call her what she called herself. And so yeah, so she
what they should have done is they should have made it either where like the longer he's there the more unstable the world becomes where it'll fall apart,
yeah,
or they should have made it where the longer he stays there the more he becomes like them and he starts losing himself and that's why he feels he has to go.
Well, as the thing goes on, they progressively become more modernized. That's the thing. And so, but her storyline is that she discovers she's a book nerd. Like, she likes books and she likes learning, and she ultimately decides to stay to go to college in the world, because at the end of the movie everyone turns color and now there's an outside world. And so she decides she's going to go off to college in the television world. And he's like, don't worry, I'll come visit you. And then he goes back to the real world, and the mom has chickened out and not gone on the date, and he's comforting her. He's like, don't worry, Mom, nobody's perfect. Oh, by the way, your daughter, she's gone. She's never coming back. She's going to live in a weird television world now. It's very strange. It's very odd. And, like...
Sounds like a weird movie.
It implies that he still has the remote, so he could go back and visit if he wants to, but it's very confusing. And like I say, the world makes sense within this in the like context that it's a magical television world. The rules more or less make sense until the end. Then it's like this.
Yeah, so
This doesn't make sense.
So does the world continue to move, like the TV world continue to like live when he's not there? Or is it in a permanent state of stasis where nothing changes until he comes back?
Well, it's implied that the Don Knotts television repair guy character controls the world. So, like, it seems like he maybe decided to not change the world back when he went back.
No, but I'm saying, is it, like, does time work the same in both worlds?
No.
Or does it stay paused until the main character goes back and visits?
He's been there. It appears he's
So
been
like,
there for
what I'm saying is his sister has gone off into the into the ether in this TV world. Is she then paused until he comes back to the world, so then the world can continue living?
Well, it appears that time works differently. The time dilation is different. So I don't know. They don't, I think, specifically say how long they were in the TV world, but it seems like it's been multiple weeks to like a month, like months. And in the real world, he's only been gone for an hour.
Okay, interesting. Because like in the sequel, it would be interesting if he goes back and like now he's 50 and his sister's still only like however old, like a week older or whatever than she is now.
If I'm understanding correctly, if anything, it'd be the opposite. She'd be like the old woman, and he'd still be like a young adult.
Okay. Because yeah, I mean that would be interesting too.
Yeah.
Like he goes back in, and like now he's helping out like his granddaughter or something who is the age of what is, and that'd be a great way to recast.
True. Yeah, that's it for Pleasantville. A very odd movie that I enjoyed. That they made us watch in school when I was in high school, but they skipped over the part where she enjoyed herself in the bathtub.
That makes sense. That feels like something that would be skipped over. That's like in one of my later ones, there's a part in the original book which was very much skipped over.
Ooh,
anyway, we'll get there. Yeah, that's it. That's it
for Pleasantville.
Hey everybody, it's NCard Justin here again. Let me know down in the comments, have you seen Pleasantville? What did you think of it? Am I totally misinterpreting this movie? I'm dumb, I'm sure I am. But let me know down in the comments what you think as always. And if you would like to see the full podcast that this video is from, you can click the video on the left. Or if you would like to see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, you can click the video on the right. Otherwise, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Leave us a like if you could, it really helps us out. And we'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day, everybody.